Ever since I got out of prison, I've been thinking of having a little talk about impressions and perceptions. Now, what's your perception of me since you just found out I've been in prison? Haven't really talked about that a whole lot before. Now, those of you who know me might be particularly surprised. Those of you who don't know me personally might find it a little bit easier to accept. It's true, I have been in prison. Never incarcerated, though. I've been a frequent visitor of a maximum security prison for almost a year now, and just spent 4 days with people who are living there. So your perception of me can now go back to what you assumed that I have, for the most part in my life, been law abiding and have at least never gotten caught if I did deserve to be punished for something that way. So, why are we talking about perception and impression? Because I have learned, or am learning, by my ministry work in the one of the prisons, maximum security institution in the state of Georgia, in the United States, that lives are more complicated than we sometimes wrap them up to be. It is very easy to write off someone who is incarcerated, a prisoner, an offender, as the state of Georgia refers to them, simply because of some horrible deeds they might have done in their lives, or other poor judgments that have caused them to be on a path of destruction to others and often to themselves as well. There is a spiritual link to this, and I don't think there's any way around that, and I'm glad and proud to include it here. God forgives us, and even though we cannot excuse the behaviors that lead to incarceration, it is possible to look at someone as a person of God and respect them, even if their behavior in the past has shown that they lack self respect. It's a very difficult environment. And again, I'm not asking anyone to feel sorry for someone here, but I will tell you that I do feel sorry for people who are behind bars, regardless of the circumstances that led to their being jailed and sometimes imprisoned for 10, 20 years or even life. And I've talked to people who are in all those situations. What does it mean to be able to look at someone and find your perception of them changed by personal engagement? Well, it provides an opportunity for me to find my growing edge and hopefully for them to find theirs. And that's why I'm sharing it with you here. We do have a chance to grow with anyone, especially perhaps those that we've judged, and maybe validly and appropriately judged. But still, even when we do that, we cannot know all the things going on in their lives then or now. What we can do is look at the model that Christ has set for us, which is one of forgiveness and unconditional love, regardless of our past. That's what prison ministry is doing for me. My perception has changed. The impression that these men have made on me varies, frankly. Some of them are extremely, actually, all of them that I've dealt with have been very polite. But I've seen some attitude, and I've actually used these occasions to maybe give a little bit of informal counsel about how to approach, say, a parole board when the time comes where one sentence might be commuted. At that time, you would want to present yourself in the best possible light to make a good impression. That means keeping your pants pulled up with a belt around your waist rather than having them sagging halfway down to your knees. Regardless of what the style might be or the statement being made in that kind of a display, we do speak volumes by how we show up in situations, our attitudes. Those are our impressions. And those impressions can reinforce our perceptions. If someone has a criminal background, if someone is in prison, it's very easy to judge them harshly and to conclude that they have exactly what they deserve. They belong there, and we don't really need to care about them because, after all, they're getting what they deserve. Maybe at some level that's true. In fact, I would agree with it in many situations. We have no choice, really, and they don't either. Society doesn't, but to keep some people behind bars because of the extent of their offense or their pattern of offense, whatever that might be. But this, again, is where our Christian tradition comes into play. Jesus forgives and calls upon us to forgive, to love our neighbor as ourselves, and in so doing, we are able to reach out to those, even people with whom we have strong disagreement and strong disapproval over their past. They too need to learn how to love their neighbor as themselves, not only the victims of their crimes, but also themselves, because in so many cases it is very obvious that self respect is severely lacking. If someone is told enough times that they're no good, a little bit of them, maybe a whole lot of them, begins to believe it. You don't have to be in prison to be imprisoned by that very dangerous cycle of self defeat. God loves all of us, regardless of what we've done. If we're sorry for our past, there is a chance for true reform and a chance for us to have another day. All of us deserve that, regardless of whether we have to spend the rest of our lives behind bars, get a second chance at living free, or never get incarcerated in the first place. Please remember that in your dealings with each other and your dealings with me. Should we meet, cut me some slack. I need it. I'm going to do my best to cut you some as well.